We're live. All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna share.
Oh,
Yeah, you see it?
yes, sir.
I'd like to dedicate any good that comes from this, any
Mhm.
service to God that comes out of this, should go to my uncle Falik Ben Esther for his refuah shalema immediately, completely.
Amen.
God can do it. I know that he can do it in a
Mhm.
second, and I fully expect him to.
Amen.
Okay. Okay, so let's just, I'm trying to streamline this process for folks at home to learn the letters, to get a sense. So this right here is from a website called Hasoferet. This is apparently a women's rights movement in the Jewish scribe world. Just
Interesting.
kidding. This is a lady scribe who she's trying to,
Mhm.
somehow function within the realm of halacha, which is cool. I don't see.
Are women allowed to be scribes, by the way?
They're not allowed to be scribes
Why not?
for the following reason.
Mhm.
There are some possible exceptions, like it's interesting, but Orthodox approach to female scribe. This is in her own words. Here, let me just, I guess I'll.
Is it a issue of, if a woman is having, you know what I'm saying, like the tuma, whatever?
No. God forbid, not at all.
That's
No,
the only thing I could think of.
No. It has to do with who is chayav for these mitzvot. Who is
It's like tefillin, basically.
Yeah, in the Torah world, certain things should be done only by people who are absolutely obligated to be involved in them.
Right.
Okay, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Because a person who is absolutely obligated, it's actually a lot like a mashgiach for kashrut.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you need that? Because you need somebody there who is in the same boat as the people who need to eat that food. You have a religious guy there making sure that the food is kosher because he understands that the people going to be eating this food are also people who are fully worried about the food being kosher because they have to. It's their obligation. So if you have women they may put on tefillin, but they don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay, so only the people who are desperately obligated to do this should be involved in its creation. I think that's the basic idea. But so involves agreeing. One second, I'm just looking for the place over here in the text. Accepting this case involves agreeing that women are invalid to write separate Torah, tefillin, and mezuzot, and refraining from becoming involved with such items which were written by women. End of story. Okay, one second. When faced with intractable halachic ruling, there are two options. One can accept the ruling as is, or one can seek a way to absorb the ruling into one's halachic system, but limit or expand its scope in some way in order to render it more palatable. I read this before. I'm just looking for that. I don't want to read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hold on. Since Megillot and other scrolls for ritual use are not explicitly described as being invalidated when written by women or minors, etc., it is perfectly reasonable to say that therefore the rule does not apply. By analogy with tzitzit, any Jew could write a Megillah. By analogy with sukkah or sukkah, a non-Jew could also write a Megillah. Further study would be required. On the other hand, since other scrolls are generally held to work pretty much like Sifrei Torah in almost all aspects of manufacture, for instance, it's also perfectly reasonable to say that the rule does apply, and hence that women may not write such scrolls. Valid arguments have been made and may be made in either direction, and the decision is one to be made by individual communities. I'm not sure how accurate that is, okay? But I'm just trying to find the main thing. So, cases, 1 second. Mechanism of Jewish law works a bit like higher mathematics. You have known accepted data that you cannot change, whether it's previously proved theorems or Talmudic texts. You have a question. Okay, I'll research that. I wasn't prepared to get into that question, but anybody who actually wants to research it for themselves, they can go to this website. See, it says hassle. Hold on, hasselferret.com. Okay,
Mhm.
and then you can go down to this section here, and it says halacha about female scribes. Okay, so, and even just also disclaimer, this is not necessarily representative of the actual truth. This is this person's opinion and their view on how Jewish law works. She may or may not be right. I don't know. I can't guarantee her accuracy.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, but that being said, she did include in this website, see this, it says there's more than two sources for what the form of the letters are supposed to look like in Jewish law. And there's a book called Keset HaSofer, okay? And I think it starts around chapter 5, where that actually starts talking about the form of the letters. But then there's also the Mishnah Brura, okay? And that's what I wanted to look at today. Mishnah Brura was written by the Chafetz Chaim.
I have a story about the Mishnah Brura.
Please.
A friend of mine was dating. Okay, I have a friend who got married. I guess like 5 years ago. But before he got married, he was dating. He was in the this whole dating scene in Jerusalem, and he met this girl. So my friend, I'll give you some background. He was, I guess he's like me. He's more kind of like, it's like a mix of like, Rav Kook, Lubavitch friendly, whatever, And
By the way, Rav Kook himself was Lubavitch friendly. He was actually good friends with the Utica Rebbe.
Yeah, but just listen. So the guy was when he was in the States, he was helping out in Hawaii and in Vegas and in different places in California. He was helping out Chabad Shluchim. So he was like helping. He was doing basically shlichus, but not really shlichus. He was helping the rabbis who were doing shlichus. And then so he became, he's more like Chabad, pro Chabad, so to speak, right? But he's not anti anybody else, right? So he was dating this girl who came from she was FFB, from like, I guess you can call it just mainstream Orthodox family, or you would say mainstream Orthodox Machmir, let's put it that way, yeshivish. And what happened was, okay, so he met her father, and her father, oh no, he didn't meet her father, I'm sorry. She said that her father asked if he knows how to learn. He said, sure, He went to Machon Meir, the Rav Kook Yeshiva Frankel guys. So the guy's like, oh, so can you read like a shtickle Mishnah Brura? Right? And the guy's like, well, I read Shulchan Aruch Harav. I learned Shulchan Aruch Harav. So because of that, the father instructed the girl to break it off with my friend. But I will tell you, obviously, we know rejection is protection.
Yeah, exactly. And
my friend ended up meeting a great girl. She was Masorti, like French, like traditional. Actually, it was crazy because at the time this was in Jerusalem, she wasn't really keeping anything per se, or wasn't serious about keeping stuff. And then what happened was they got married. And then so they wanted to actually go back to the States because he was going to go to school here. And he did. He ended up going to school here. But what happened was she was like, waiting for her visa, for her American visa / citizenship in Israel from the consulate. So basically he was just like, okay, they were basically separated for 3 months. He went to California to set up, the house they were going to live in and the whole stuff with that. And in those 3 months, she ended up going to Mayanot and like became fire. And then so I remember when I went to visit them already in California, and we went to a Shabbat meal, like this like campus in like middle of nowhere, San Luis Obispo, California. and there's no frum people there, just a campus Chabad with like students going to the Shabbat meal with their phones.
Okay.
And then there's like my friend and his wife and me who are like, we actually keep Shabbat, So we're there, and then like we're and so it took 10-15 minutes to drive there, but on the way walk back from Neil back to his house like an hour and a half through San Luis Obispo. And his wife at one point is just like, I'm tired of these meals, like French girl. She's like, she's like, I don't want to see people on their phones. Da, da, da. She made like it was like a Rebbitzin, she was just like made a whole stink about it,
That's good.
Balchu on fire,
That's good.
But
it makes up for her being French. That's awesome.
She actually, it's funny for a French girl, most French girls, most French people, they don't, French Jews, they don't acknowledge people who are not French.
I know.
They physically do not, they look at you like you're Casper the Friendly Ghost, friendly Jew.
Don't get it twisted.
Yes. But Baruch Hashem, like she's whatever, nice girl, but she was taught not to behave that way, I guess. And no, it's just like, it's funny, like the whole Mishnah. And it was funny, before he met his wife, I was like, so how's Mishnah Brewer doing? I called that girl Mishnah Brewer. And he was just like, don't remind. And it was like this, I had never seen anything like that before. Where the guy, God forbid, okay, the guy's not learning Mishnah Brewer. He's not learning, I don't know, something Litvak. He's learning something Lubavitch. And therefore, shidduch is off. What is this, 1898?
It's crazy. Just on a side note, anybody who's not familiar with this situation, for the folks at home, even in the little Jewish world, Jews from France are shitty to Jews who are not from France.
It was actually explained to me why, because they say that
French.
No. Well, part of it is that, but the other part is that how Russian Jews are also like, where we keep, well, not you and I, but like many Russian Jews keep to their own, and they're very like, they just keep to their own. They don't like anything that's different. They don't want to, go beyond their horizons.
Yeah, but I don't. In my experience, that's not because we think we're better than everyone.
I know.
We don't like unfamiliarity.
I know. So it was explained to me by a friend of mine who's actually another friend of mine who's actually married to a French girl. Actually, his wife explained it to me. She's like, yeah, because we don't. First of all, French, you have to understand, it's the language. One aspect is of language, because the French used to be lingua franca. That's what's called lingua franca. French used to be the international language that everybody had to speak. Now it's English, and they're pissed off about that, and it's ingrained in the culture. Really, and the Jews also they have absorbed that. Also, yeah, they're just very like they're to themselves, and they don't, they feel, actually, if anything, sometimes you may be misinterpreting them as at being like, douchey to you, but it's not even that. It's that they feel insecure about their ability to speak English.
Okay, that might be true in rare cases, but no, they really actually do think that they're better. They really do.
Yeah. That's also.
And you're right about the insecurity. In that sense, the French, there's something similar to them about Russians. They have this like superiority/inferiority complex.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's like a false superiority complex.
Yeah, it's like.
But dude, I'm telling you,
we shall restore our once great status as the conquerors of Europe.
Dude, I heard a joke that like, how did the English conquer India? They just like guilted everybody to death in feeling like they were not as civilized. Yeah, they basically just like guilted you, not guilted you, but you know what I mean? Like they made you feel like just.
They judgmentalized everyone.
They judgmentalized you to death into like complying with their garbage. No, but dude, I was at a wedding, like this is like 2008. I was at a wedding in Netanya. Actually, a friend of mine, this like Sephardi Israeli American guy from Jersey, met this French girl. They met in Israel, and the wedding was in Netanya. And I was just like, I'm sitting there, and they put me at a table with like my friend, but then also some French people. They literally did not acknowledge our physical existence.
Yeah. That's
We may as well have not been there physically. There was no hello. There was no how are you doing? At least just hello, shalom, Nothing. There was nothing. I may as well have just disappeared into, it's like, Joker, make this pencil disappear.
I know on the
Thin
one
air.
hand, usually it's a strange situation
Yeah.
associating with French people, even religious Jews amongst each other. Even the French religious Jews are like our French to you guys. You know what I mean? Like not a Jewish world. You know how you guys find French people to be obnoxious? It's the same thing for us.
No, but can I tell you something? I met, actually, conversely to that, I remember meeting some of my good Lubavitch, so to speak, people that I know, like people that I'm connected with, are French guys from Crown Heights. There's a guy who I met through, the wine industry. He actually imports French kosher wine. And I was learning Hasidus from him in Crown Heights. Very nice guy. He acknowledges people's existence. The guys I met in 770, I met at a Fabringen, I met some French guys. They were visiting, from the yeshiva, I guess in, Brunoy, Paris, wherever it was. Nice guys. And they actually, I guess there's something in Lubavitch.
Yeah,
I don't know.
no, there is. You're right. The only French Jews that I've ever had positive interactions with were religious, were Hasidic French Jewish guys. Okay. And also Sephardic, a couple of Sephardic French, like Moroccan French Jews, like that.
Yeah.
They were decent. And it's always guys, never one good interaction with any female French anything. Ever.
Well, because those girls are just taught whoever you don't know.
No, I'm talking. Listen, I'm just speaking about people from France in general.
No, I know. I get it. Yeah.
Dude, please don't. You're not going to tell me that French girls, non-Jewish French girls, are taught to be very reserved. They're not.
They're not.
So just obnoxious. And I remember. Do you remember the thing that happened with the Bataclan?
Yes.
Right, and then and then the main thing that everybody was concerned about. We're talking about non-Arab French people, just white French girls,
indigenous French people.
Yeah, they're like, don't get it twisted. This is not because it's Muslim. Don't get it twisted. I wanted to drown. She was standing behind a fountain. I wanted to drown her in that fountain. Anyway. But
so we started from Mr. Joe, we went into French people, and just so folks at home don't get it twisted. We don't not like French. We just find.
No, I don't like French, but I don't. That doesn't mean that I think that they should be exterminated, or anybody should ever be mean to them. They are still human beings, and they need to be tolerated. But doesn't mean I have to like them. Yeah, culturally.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a strange.
But message to all the French Jews.
They might even be lost tribe. Well, I'm not going to say unfortunately, but they might be Reubenites, according to my research. But who knows? Oh,
that's a whole other sense. But I just want to give. I use this platform to give a message to all French Jews. Please acknowledge our presence.
No, I don't want them to. I'm already on the other side. Like I've gotten enough experience where I'm comfortable with the status quo.
As I said yesterday, this medial, so you've made peace with it.
I made peace with it, right? So no, but on the one, somebody, I had this conversation with somebody. They're like, wait a minute, you don't like French, but you think that they could be lost tribes. So how do you reconcile that? I'd be like, well, okay, no problem. If you read the Tanakh, you'll see the tribes didn't like each other either. They never liked each other.
There was like a decimation. That's how the story of Tubav came out. They decimated one of the tribes.
Decimated Benjamin.
And left a couple of shtickle, just for whatever, procreation purposes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was more than just that. I mean, they had conflicts between tribes. Mm-hmm. Like Ephraim and Menashe. Yeah. Those are brothers. Right?
Listen, I always thought to myself, what is stopping? You know that actually back in the day, the whole Gaon Vilna Baal Shem Tov thing, there were fisticuffs, there were physical fights. I don't know if anybody died, but there were physical fights. And I'm thinking to myself, what's stopping Jews today from just I'm talking about just frum Jews with other frum Jews, not even talking about leftists versus, what's stopping us from just decimating each other? Now we just insult each other,
Oh, because I think even that is improved. Remember,
Yeah.
Rabbi Kessin, I knew that when Rabbi Kissin was talking about Rubashkin.
Yeah.
I noticed that there was a
The whole Jewish world, man. Came
yeah.
out for that.
So Baruch Hashem, that's
Dude, my friend was in. I was actually in Israel at the time. I was visiting Israel, and my friend messages me. My friend, one of my roommates, and he's like, he grew up in Flatbush, but he's more kind of, he likes the whole like neo-Hasidic kind of thing, that's going around today. And he goes to me, dude. He's like, I was in 770 for the Lubashkin thing, and he's like, dude, I've never seen this in my life. I saw people from everywhere. I saw guys I know from Flatbush and Marine Park. I saw guys I know from Muncie, but like everybody's like Litvaks. I saw people I never would thought I would see in 770. People who like said that 770 is like, that's from Lavora Zora. I saw them there.
Yeah.
He's like, this is incredible, man. This is like, I told him, I'm like, yeah, that's probably Bata B'Shishim of what it would be like when Mashiach comes. That feeling.
1/60th, right?
Yeah, 160th.
So I just wanted to go back to the Mishnah Berurah for a second. So
Yeah.
funny that your friends, that girl's father reacted that way, because when the Alter Rebbe wrote the Shulchan Aruch Harav, there was some pieces of it that were lost, that were burnt when he was fleeing Napoleon and stuff like that. But the parts that are missing in the Shulchan Aruch Harav, Chabad, they use the Mishnah Berurah.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So let's take a look at are you okay if we look at bet?
Yeah, please. Yalla.
You still see this, right?
Yep.
Okay. So obviously, here's what the bet looks like. It's a nicely formed bet. Okay. Probably formed by this female scribe, actually. It's kind of nice. Looks good. So one must take great care. This is from the Mishnah Berurah.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, it's the correct translation. I cannot guarantee that. Okay, so one must take great care. I want to apologize to the folks at home.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a lazy person, and I haven't learned how to read Hebrew properly,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore, your experience suffers. But I'll work on that. I'm trying to do tshuva. Okay. One must take great care, right here, folks, that the letter bet is squared. Okay, so that it should not appear like a kaf. Okay, just to give you, hi Balrog, just to give you a distinction. Hold on. Here's the kaf, as you can see, it's rounded, right? Okay. So we got to make sure that the bet does not appear like that. Okay. All right, must be squared. So basically, if it appears like a kaf, it is invalid. And if there's some kind of like, if you're not sure, you have to ask a child, and if a child recognizes it, then it's kosher.
Mm-hmm.
So it must be squared on the right at both top and bottom. Here, okay, and it is not clear what the rule is if the top is round and the bottom is square. Meaning, there's an opinion that says that if the top is round and the bottom is square, is it still kosher? So it's apparently, according to the Chafetz Chaim, it's not clear what the ruling is. Okay, there's a doubt. Okay, so because of that, it's not proper to be lenient. Meaning, just on the safe side, make sure that it's square on top and on the bottom, just to make sure there's no doubts. Okay, so lechatchila. How would you translate lechatchila from the get-go, right?
Yeah, there's lechatchila. There's like lechatchila in the Eved.
Lechatchila is like from just from the beginning, like start out correctly.
Yeah. Here.
There's a Chabad song called Lechatchila Riba, right?
Yes. Yeah, it means go over the wall. It's lechatchila starting from outset, but the Eved after the fact.
From the outset. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So lechatchila, it has a little tag on the left side of its head, right here. This right here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, each of these tags, they're really kind of supposed to be like mini Zions. Okay. Okay. So it's a little tag on the left side of its head. Okay, like a little staff. Okay, and a little point upwards on the right side. Over here. See. Okay. And also here. See if he's going to talk about that. Okay. So. Okay, and a little point upwards on the right side, pointing towards the olive. You see, right here, right? Like you have to imagine the alphabet, like starting from right to left, moving this way. So these little points over here, right? They're pointing to the olive that came before it. Okay, but see that it's not pointing directly to the right. It's pointing to the right and up. That indicates. That shows you that the bet is saying that the aleph is higher. Okay, the aleph is in relation to the bet is higher, and the bet is acknowledging that. You see that, Greg?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, if you could just imagine the aleph over here, right? The bet is pointing to it because the aleph is like, in the bet's estimation, the aleph is up here somewhere. You know, it's okay. Okay. Remember, these letters are all these are representative symbols for real entities. Okay. Okay, so right side pointing toward the olive. Okay. Now the Yerushalmi, we're right here in the text. The Yerushalmi, that's the Jerusalem Talmud, in Chagiga asks, why does the bet have two prickles, one upward and one behind? Okay. They said to Beit, who made you? And it showed them with its upper point, meaning this right here. Okay. It showed them with the point which was pointing back at the aleph, as if to say, one is his name. The bet was saying that it was made from the aleph representing God.
Yeah.
It also has a substantial heel below its form. This is the heel right here. Okay. Like that of the dalet standing in the throat of a vav. So it requires a corner above like dalet and a heel below for the head of the vav. Okay, so as you can see, this dalet over here on the bottom has a heel kind of upside down. Okay, so this part right here is sometimes pictured as an upside down dalet. Okay, right, and then you have this little vav, this line connected to it that makes so it can be viewed. So the bet can be viewed as three vavs or a dalet and a vav. So here's the dalet and a vav, or vav, vav, vav. Okay, it depends on the context. It depends on what angle we're looking at it. So obviously a dalet and a vav, that's like a more intermediate perspective, but the vav, 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 that's like the baseline perspective. Whatever, we'll get into that some other time. Okay, so like the worm's eye perspective. Okay, so I have a problem. Once I leave the text, I have a problem finding my place. It's like an issue. Okay, so the dalet. Okay, so it's like a dalet standing in the throat of a vav. Okay, so this is the vav. The dalet is standing in it upside down. Okay, so it requires a corner above like dalet. Okay, and a heel below for the head of the vav. So the width and height of bet should be 3 quills width. This is very important. And the width of the space in the middle should be 1 quill's width. So, Greg, you see this? You see the thickness of this?
Yeah.
That is made by like when let me see if I could find. So basically, everybody knows what a quill is, right? It's like if you can imagine a reed, right? And the scribe, he or she slices the cross section of the quill at an angle, and then creates kind of like a shape on it that's like a fountain pen. You know, it has like that kind of shape, and then you can dip it into ink, and then you could use that to that's what they use to write. So it could usually it's either a turkey feather or a reed, which the reed was actually the preferred one, and then in later times they started using turkey quills more often. But if I ever take this up, I'm going to do the reed thing, because what the hell? Why am I going to take a feather from a turkey? That's messed up.
Yeah.
How would I feel if a turkey came up and bust me in the head and then ripped some of my hair out? I wouldn't appreciate that personally. I don't know about you. All right.
Yeah.
So, you know, makes sense to me. Okay.
Yeah.
So each one of these lines over here, see that? This is a full quill thickness. This is the width of the tip of the quill, right? So you put the imagine my cursor here is like the tip of the quill. It just goes like this here, and then goes one stroke to the right. Okay, that's the full thickness of the tip of the quill. And then this right here, this line is made, this thin line is made by the very, 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 very tip of the quill, not its full thickness, right? So just kind of like, they kind of like drag this little line down a little bit. Also similar here too. And then again, they do a full quill thickness with this line over here. So you see that from top to bottom, this bet is 3 quills thickness. Here's 1 quill thickness. Here's another quill thickness, and the mid space, the negative space here in between, so is another quill thickness. You see, it's like 1, 2, 3. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay, so that's a very, sorry to take people on this little quill journey, but that's very fundamental, because you see, here's a quill thickness, here's a quill thickness, here's a quill thickness. That's something that you're going to see consistent, and it's also very important, because it's a unit of measurement. It's the basic unit of measure of of the scribe, of the Torah, and that has an infinite amount of meaning, which we're going to learn from if God allows us in the future. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so and the width of the space in the middle is 1 quill's width right here. Okay, all right. If one truncated the bet so that a child read it as a bent nun, okay, one ought to be stringent and see below in the laws of bent nun, also in the Bet Yosef's second alphabet under Vav. I found this explicitly in the Pre-requisite's introduction. See there, he writes the extending it so that it more properly resembles a bet. That it counts as writing out of order for tefillin. Okay, so basically, those are the comments of the Chafetz Chaim, in terms, and these are the Bet Yosef, the Pre-requisite. These are other authorities who write about the laws that he relies on when he was studying this. Okay, so okay, so that's just wanted people to see the law. Let me put this away now. Okay. Last time I showed you Shulchan Aruch Harav. This time I just wanted to show you. I'm going to try to show like different sources that they all use each other. They all agree with each other, just reflect each other. Okay. So, just a moment. Let me get this out. Okay. Okay. So here's Bet. This is from a website called Mordechai Sofer, and he has these little like animations of him actually drawing, and you could see how it's actually drawn, except the quill is not visible. So watch this.
That's cool.
All right, and here's I didn't get to show you this last time with the olive, so That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Here's another interesting thing, and this is connected to both Aleph and the bet. So this is from the Sefer Bahir. You ever look at it, the Bahir?
No, but this is really cool.
Yeah. So basically, the Aleph, we talked about the Aleph being the master letter, right?
Mhm.
All the other letters and all the other sounds are connected within, or included within the Aleph. Okay. And so this is incredible. Like, I've seen a lot of examples of this, but this is a bet contained within the Aleph from just a graphic depiction, a metaphorical graphic depiction of this concept. Okay, there's a lot of ways to look at it. So, I haven't studied the meaning, the full meaning of this graphic, but this is from a very, very ancient text.
Yeah.
The Bahir has been around definitely longer than the Zohar, meaning it hasn't been around longer than the Zohar, but it's been in the public Jewish consciousness longer than the Zohar has. Okay, and only Sefer Yetzirah has been around in the public Jewish consciousness longer than the Bahir. So the Bahir is like it's like a midway. It's like a primer for the Zohar. The Zohar expounds, the information in the Zohar expounds on what's in the Bahir. And they're both attributed to Tanaim, people who lived 2,000 years ago, from the Talmudic period.
Yeah.
Okay. So here is just a stationary. Here's the bet up close. This is from the book, The Hebrew Letters. Okay. And by Rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg, I believe. Okay. And here is the spelling of how you actually spell the name of the letter Beit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Beit. All right. This is from the book. One second. Is The Inner Meaning of the Hebrew Letters by Robert M. Horalick. I'll show you. I'm going to take a picture one of these days.
Yeah,
And show
he did the was it Torah code or whatever.
He was one of the primary. He's a statistician and an expert computer scientist. He's also a religious guy, but he was one of the primary pioneers in the Torah codes field.
Yeah.
So the Torah codes is a modern thing. It is different than gematria. It's different than all the traditional information coded, topics. Okay, that we've had this whole time. Okay, but it's no less incredible, and it was actually prophesied that something like that we would have it in the times of Mashiach. So highly recommend reading everything that he's ever said and looking at everything that he's ever written. Okay, so let's get this out. Okay, so let's read a little bit about it. Okay, before we get crazy. Right. Hold on, let me see what this is for a second. Oh yeah, okay. So I actually did take a picture of it. Fine. I recommend, like, anybody interested to freeze this for a moment, just read it. Okay. So this is from the book that we just talked about, The Inner Meaning of the Hebrew Letters. Okay. So actually, no, I'm my mistake. This is from the Hebrew Letters from Rabbi Ginsburg. Okay. So let's just take a look at this. So discussing the form. Okay, so the bet is composed of 3 connected valves. We talked about that before, resembling a square, yet open on the left side. Okay, here it is, open on the left side. Okay, from the perspective of the Torah, the top line of the square faces east. So this is very interesting, and this is something that was difficult for me to picture. But now that we have technology, well, okay, so there it is. from the perspective of the Torah, okay, this line is east. So from our view, like, whenever they show you a map nowadays, north is always up, right? But from probably ancient man in general, but definitely ancient Israel, east is up. Okay, east is our primary. When we think about the heights, we think about something high, we think about something holy, we think about the heavens. We think east. We don't think north. Okay, and so let me just bring it back to normal. Okay, so again, this is east going up here. See, this way. Okay, and this is west. All right, and this is south, and this is north. So if you could picture the 10 sfirot, right? You have the left side, which is over here where this opening is always the side, that's where evil comes from, or strict judgment, right? So this is the side of Gevura, the north here. Okay, so I hope people are able to follow that. Greg, was that coherent?
It's funny. I wonder if it's connected to, what do they call it? No, what's the show? Game of Thrones, the North.
I mean, well, in classic, probably not just in the Jewish world, but in the ancient mindset, I think like all the scary stuff that people dread, like judgment or evil or that kind of stuff, comes from the north. Okay, and just like if you think about the earth, it's very interesting. So you have, like, even though the earth is a sphere, right? But it has continents, right? You have continents in the east, that's Asia, right? In the west, that's North America, South America. In the south, you have Antarctica. But the north, there's nothing. There's no landmass there. There's no continent. It's just open. Just like, okay, it's just like coldness. There. There's no refuge there. There's nothing to stand on, except for ice. So you might say that about Antarctica, but Antarctica is ice on top of Earth. There's an actual continent there. But anyway, so, right, so the open side faces north. This is north, okay, if you guys can picture it. Now, okay, worlds. At this level, the shape of the letter Bet represents man's struggle with evil. The natural, the animal soul of the Jew is itself a mixture of good and evil. Its three innate positive characteristics, modesty, mercy, and kindness, can be seen to correspond to the three vowels of the letter Bet. Okay, so modesty, mercy, kindness. Or I don't know how they're organized, but all right. So they can be seen to correspond to the three vowels of the letter Bet. The evil inclination, right, the soul's negative character, corresponds to the open north side. Okay. From this side, God allows, as it were, evil temptation to enter the world. So it is said, Mitzafon tiftach hara. From the north, Mitzafon, from the north. By the way, Tzafon means hidden as well, right? But Mitzafon from the north, tiftach is underneath or replaces hara, evil, or he translated it here, it's evil begins from the north. We know tiftach doesn't really mean begins, it means like under, it replaces, or is in the stead of, in the place of. Anyway, so evil comes from the north, meaning that Israel's enemies will attack from the north. In Kabbalah, the north corresponds to the property of Gevura, might, Spirit Gevura. The spiritual source of the north is itself the power to overcome and conquer its lower manifestation. So the open north of this world, okay? So again, the origin of Gevura is in holiness, okay? But when it gets translated to lower realms, that's where evil attaches. Okay, but the source of it can overcome the evil that attaches to it.
Yeah.
All right, so God gives a soul the power to conquer its evil inclination, as our sages teach. Who is courageous? Gibor, right? Gibor, from Gevura, might, the north. Okay, so he who conquers his evil inclination. So again, here's the, without breaking the rhythm. Who is courageous? He who conquers his evil inclination. That's the real hero. That's in the Torah world, in the religious world, the heroes, the mighty heroes, are never the ones who destroy, entire empires, or who fought, on the battlefield, even though they did all that. But that's not the primary focus. The primary focus is the true mighty ones. The heroes are the ones who conquer their own evil inclination. Okay, so each person in Tanya, the Alter Rebbe, he describes each human being as a city, right? And the city is under siege, and there's always forces trying to conquer the city. So, so conquer yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So the power. I'm talking to myself, by the way. I'm not preaching. I'm not standing on a pulpit here. Okay. Primarily to myself. Okay.
By the way, our friend Paul Carpenter said he's going to be in South Florida next week, I guess.
Cool. I'll try to meet up with him.
So you should meet him.
If he's available.
Yes.
So okay. So he who conquers his evil inclination. Okay, fine. So the power to be courageous is given to the soul at birth. The moment it enters this world and first confronts the open north, this power is conveyed by means of an oath. Okay, so this is actually in the Talmud, and the Tanya talks about this too. It says, "Be a tzaddik and don't be a rasha. Be a righteous man and don't be a wicked man." That's an oath that the soul is bound to. And even if the whole world says to you, you are a tzaddik, even if the whole world says you're a big righteous guy, you're saying, consider yourself a rasha.
Famous thing.
Yeah. Consider yourself evil. Okay. So don't take compliments seriously, because you can't trust them. Okay.
Yeah.
So consider yourself as a rasha, as an evil person. And that means to always face the reality of the open north, meaning that you don't have to think of yourself as evil. That's not what he's saying. He's saying always understand that it's right there, ready to pounce on you. Okay, and you're vulnerable to evil impulses. That's why you have to stay vigilant.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah.
So of the open north, with the courage and conviction to conquer with the help of God. So each year on one's Hebrew birthday, this power shines most strongly. And so this is the day most potent to arouse consciousness to one's latent powerhouse. So too, the Jewish people as a whole is given the power from above to conquer its enemies. And that's primarily the evil inclination, or the evil spiritual influences, okay? So the birthday of the Jewish people is the day of its exodus from Egypt, the release from servitude to the conventions and restrictions of society by the powerful hand of God. This is commemorated annually at the Seder, Pesach Seder, bringing us into full consciousness of God's power, both from without and from within, to redeem us. I just want to make us say, just think, it talked about the animal soul here, right? So the shape represents man's struggle with the evil. The natural animal soul, okay, of the Jew is itself a mixture of good and evil. Okay, so here's what we're doing in this world, Greg. This pertains to the conversation we had last time. The animal soul, it's not a great translation of it, okay? But that's the consciousness that we are most connected to when we're in the body.
Yeah.
And the animal soul is not, it's not good or bad. It's neutral territory. Okay? So we are bonded. Our animal soul is bonded with our godly soul. Those are two separate entities. Okay? The godly soul is matched together. It's paired together with particular animal soul because it must conquer it and make it into holy. It has to transform it from a neutral to something holy. But we're also bonded from the time of the Garden of Eden, of the eating of the tree, to an evil entity as well that is not considered. So again, the godly soul is part of us.
Mhm.
The animal soul is part of us. The evil inclination, even though it's present and sort of, it seems like attached to our consciousness, it's not considered as if it's part of us. It's a foreign parasite that's bonded with us.
Yeah.
So the godly soul is not a parasite. The animal soul is not a parasite, but the evil inclination is a parasite. The point is, it's present. And you have these two opposing forces playing tug of war with the animal soul.
Yeah.
And the animal soul is our experience, generally speaking, for most people. You feel yourself pulled in many directions. That's because you have assumed the perspective of the animal soul, and you feel yourself being pulled. You want to do good, but then you're tempted to do evil. So this is kind of the framework.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just look at something else. Okay. Hang on a second. Okay. So now here, the deepest passion of the creator reaches fulfillment. The large bet, the first letter of the Torah. So just to kind of, let's see if I could find it really quickly. I just want people to see this. I think like a visual will have an impact. I should have prepared this. I apologize. Okay. So, hold on a second. Okay, so I see right here. So this is an example of it, I suppose. Damn it. Wow, that sucks. Okay, all right, I'll make this work. Hang on.
I have to figure out a way how to de-shadow ban myself, my page. I don't know how to do this. It's not right that we have 35,000 fans on this page, and
Oh yeah, you're live streaming this, right?
yeah, one person is watching. One person. I have 35,000 fans.
Listen, it's not Facebook that's shadow banning us, it's God. If we are worthy,
Obviously.
that God will unshadow ban us, and he'll show this to people. If
I know.
so, we got to be like Cain, not like Cain. We got to be like, does God accept our offering here? If not, then we got to improve it somehow. Okay, so this is the beginning. This is kind of what the Torah looks like. I wish that thing would go away. Okay, so over here you see that the bet, this is the first word of the Torah. The bet you see is larger than the rest of the letters, right? It's supposed to be twice the size. Okay, so that's what he's referring to, just straight off the bat. Okay, so again, the deepest passion of the creator reaches fulfillment. Okay, the large bet, the first letter of the Torah and the beginning of creation expresses this ultimate purpose. As is said, the final deed arose first in thought. Okay, so first in thought, last in deed. That's how people have heard that expression most often, I think.
Mhm.
Okay, in the first word of the Torah, Bereshit, the three servant letters. Okay, the prefix bet and the two suffix letters Yud and Tav. Okay, so just I want you to picture this. See the bet right here? This is the first servant letter.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's not attached to the main, it's attached to the main root, but it's not part of the main root. The root of this letter, if you guys can follow the cursor, right, is Rosh, Resh, Aleph, and Shin. That's the root of this word. But the servant letters, the letters that are more just of grammatical usage here, is the first letter, the Bet, and the last two letters, the Yud and the Tav. Okay, so those are the three servant letters: the prefix Bet, okay, and the two suffix letters, the Yud and the Tav. Okay, and so when you put them together, if you were just to take the three servant letters, you put them together, it spells Beit. See?
Yeah.
Bet Yud Tav. That's the spelling of the name of the letter Bet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it means house. Okay, so it's equivalent to the full spelling of the letter Beit. Okay, now the root of Bereshit is Rosh right here. Okay, and it means head. Thus, the most natural permutation of Bereshit thus reads Rosh Beit, the head of the house. Okay, one permutation of the letters Rosh is Asher. So permutation for the folks at home means when you take these letters, right, and you change their order around, you switch them around. Same letters, but you switch them around. Okay, so one permutation is this one right here, Asher, which means happiness. Okay, so the lesson here that he's emphasizing is that when the tzaddik, the righteous person, draws God, the head, into his house, it becomes a house of true and eternal happiness.
Yeah.
Okay, so the primary, I'm just gonna skip, I'm gonna reveal a major plot twist. We have these temples, the Holy of Holies, that's all very important, but that's not really where, and that's considered God's house, right? But that's not really where God's house is. God's house is primarily inside the person.
Yeah.
Okay, so your bet, your bayit, your house,
Mm-hmm.
you are the house, the human being, whoever's listening to this, you are the house that God wants to inhabit. Okay, so Rosh means the head, right? That obviously that's a appellation for God. God's obviously the head. So the head wants to go inside the house. Okay, so now look at the word Bereshit again. Here we are. So you see that the first letter is Bet, and the last two letters are Yud and Tav. That's the house, bayit. But sandwiched in the middle is the Rosh, that's God. So God wants to be in the house. That's the first word of the Torah.
Yeah.
The first word of the Torah contains the whole point of existence. Okay. Wait.
FYI, man, I'm messaging Facebook support. I want to see what they say. I really want to see what they say. No,
Swollen, pay attention.
I am paying attention, but I want this to go out, man.
But there's no my cousin Vinny moments without you paying full attention.
Yeah, 2 youths.
All right, 2 youths, right? There's no two. You know why we haven't had 2 youths? Because you're messaging Facebook rather than okay. Now
I'm listening to you.
okay, so the form of the letter Bet is closed on 3 sides and open on the left side. Okay, so it is closed on one side as symbolic of that which is written, and thou shalt see my back. Okay, so that's from Exodus chapter 33, verse 23. Okay, thou shalt see my back. And open, and the Bet is open on the other side so as to illuminate the higher worlds. Okay? It is also open on one side in order to receive from the higher worlds, like a hall in which guests gather. For that reason, it is placed at the beginning of the Torah and was later on filled in. Okay. The Zohar talks about that. Okay, fine. So now, being closed on 3 sides and open on the left teaches us that it is the house of the world. The letter Bet is the house of the world. God is the place of the world, and the world is not his place. That's from the Bachir. We talked about that earlier. Okay. The house is where we belong. It is a place in which our personality develops, a place in which we define ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. The house has the energy, intelligence, force of the archetype of all containers or vessels. Okay? When it comes down to it, in the Torah, everything boils down to this: light and vessel. Okay? So the bet is the ultimate vessel. It's the first of the vessels, you could say. Okay? All right. So, so it is the archetype of all containers or vessels. The physical support, the building or structure, which, by the way, the word building or structure is spelled binyan right here, right? Starts with a bet, obviously, without which nothing is. Okay. And what does the vessel contain? The vessel contains the light, the ore, and the fire, which always is burning. It's always there. It contains it by burning the era. Okay, the era burning. Okay. Also a B word, a bet word. In fact, only through the vessel can the light be revealed. Okay. We talked about that yesterday, about unstable vessels not being able to wield its light.
Yeah.
So the only way for light, for the beautiful light to be seen, is if it's channeled through a vessel, a stable vessel.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's so evil. When we see evil expressed, that's because the vessel is damaged. So what you're seeing is a distorted picture of holy light.
Yeah.
Very distorted. Okay, by aligning our will with God's will, we can reveal the light through our body, which is the vessel. Okay, so the unity thereby created is the revealment of the light. Okay, any act that falls short of making our will be God's will is not an act of divine service. Any act that is not an act of love is one that conceals the light. When we reveal the light, we transform our body, our vessel, our container to a sanctuary, which is a container of holiness. That just means do God's will all the time. That reveals the light that is in the vessel. Okay, you want to reveal your soul through your actions.
Yeah.
Do mitzvot. That's basically what it means. I'm talking to myself. Okay. Okay. The full gematria of the letter bet is obtained from its fulfillment, but it's double fulfillment. That's important to understand. So the name of the letter bet, right? As let me just quickly bring that up. Okay, this is the name of the letter bait right here. Okay, spelled bait. So bet is 2 right here. Okay, 2. This is yud right here. That's 10. So far that's 12, right? 2 plus 10 is 12. And then tav is 400. Okay, gematria. So the total gematria of the name of the letter bet is 412. Okay, but let's remember, each one of these letters also has a name, right? So this is the name of bet right here, but yud also has a spelling. It's spelled yud vav dalet, and tav also has a spelling. It's spelled tav and vav, right? So that's the double fulfillment, right? That's like fulfillment level 2. So what is the gematria of that? Okay, here it is. So here's the double fulfillment. So beit, yud, and tav, right? Which has the value of 838. The word vechotavti, which means and I shall write, has the gematria of 838. And it is the kal perfect first person singular with the conjunction prefix vav of the root katav, which means to write, to register, or to record. Okay, so God uses the word vekotavti in telling Moses to come up Mount Sinai a second time, so that God will write the commandments on the second pair of stone tablets. And here's the quote. And the Lord said to Moses, hew for thyself 2 tablets of stone, like the first, and I will write. See? Vechotavti.
Yeah.
I will write. I'm sorry, and I will write. These 4 words, these 4 English words, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will write, are all, that is all expressed in this one Hebrew word, vechotavti. Okay. Hebrew is more efficient in its communication, but that's for later. Okay, and so hew for thyself 2 tablets of stone like the first, and I will write upon these tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which thou didst break. Okay, and that's from Exodus chapter 34, verse 1. Okay, so what's the point? So from this we learn that the vessel bet is that on which God writes. Okay, the light revealed by the vessel is God's writing. This is the light. Okay, the writing itself. This reinforced by the fact that the second word in the Torah is bara, right? He created, which means created. Okay, so the root bara can be broken up into the last 2 letters, resh and aleph, and bet. So the bet stands for bayit, house, right? And the ra stands for or, because those are the letters. The resh and the aleph are the letters. They permute to this, which means light. Or means light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the house of light. Okay. So to be created, therefore, means to be housed in light.
Yeah.
From this point of view, all reality is a house in relation to God. Okay. Our task is to think, say, and do that which will reveal the light that's already there. And what the vessel does in receiving the light is with respect to the vessel, which is the same relation as what the light is with respect to God. Okay, so for the word right here, mishpachti, right, which also has the gematria of 838, this word mishpachti means my family or my kindred or relation, my relations. Okay, it also has the value of 838. Okay, so here's its use in the Torah. But thou shalt go to my father's house and to my kindred, mishpachti, my kindred, and take a wife from my son. That's obviously Abraham speaking to Eliezer. Okay, so here in 29, in Genesis chapter 24, verse 38. Okay, then thou shalt be clear from this my oath when thou comest to my kindred, mishpachti. And if they grant it not to thee, thou shalt be clear of my oath. So that's Abraham saying that, I bind you to an oath to go there to find a wife for my son from my family. And if you go there and you don't succeed because they don't let it happen, then you're not, you don't have to worry. You're not bound by the oath. You tried. Okay. So so just in summary, so the second fulfillment of the name of the letter bet is 838. Okay? That's a very fundamental value. Okay? And then the word vichotafti, I shall write, is also 838. Okay? Right? So, and remember, God, the Torah is written, isn't it, right? And the first letter of the Torah is the bet, right? So here's the bet. Okay, it's really remarkable. And okay, so you have the root, okay, the second word bara, okay, that's fine, and then you have the word mishpachti, right? So again, our task is to think and say and do that which will reveal the light that's already there. Okay, and the vessel, what the vessel does in receiving the light is with respect to the vessel. It's related. I'm not sure, the writing here is a little bit strange. So the vessel, the same relation as to what the light is with respect to God. Okay, so this idea of relation, mishpachti, which also has a gematria of 838, means my kindred. Okay, and kindred means relation. By the way, this whole idea of mishpachti is also associated with a house, isn't it? Like, where does family live? Mishpachti, my family, from my family. The family lives in the bet, in the bayit, in the house. Okay, so the gematria, the first fulfillment, the first spelling, like the first level spelling of the letter bait is 412. We mentioned that before. The word ha'ot. Greg, what does ha'ot mean?
Ha'ot?
Yeah, right here. See where the cursor is?
Wait, let me see. Ha'ot, token and a sign.
Yeah, the ot means it means a letter. Ot means a letter. It's also, each letter is also a sign. It's a symbol, right? So this word ha'ot, symbol, sign, also has a gematria of 412.
Yeah.
Right? See, here's Hey, 5,
Yeah.
Aleph, 1. Okay, that's 6. Vav is 6, that's 12. And then Tav is 400, so 412. It's the same as Beit. So the token, the sign, and the bet have the same gematria. So the bet is the primary sign. And that's why it's the first letter of the Torah. It's the primary letter.
Yeah.
In terms of God's expression. Okay. Which the Torah, which is what the Torah is. Okay, so this word, we find it, this ha'ot, right? It means token or the sign. It has the gematria of 412, as we said. And it's used when God is talking to Moses and telling him to lead the people out of Egypt. So here's where it's from. It says, and he said, certainly I will be with thee. It's God speaking to Moses. And this shall be the sign. See, the sign.
Yes.
Ha'ot, the sign to thee. That it is I who have sent thee when thou hast brought the people out of Egypt.
It's right here.
Yeah, amen. And ye shall serve God upon this mountain. Okay, so that's from Exodus chapter 3, verse 12. Okay. So the word ha'ot is again used in the warning about false prophets. So that's, let's see, that's from Deuteronomy chapter 13, verses 2 to 3. Okay, so you guys could, pause this for a moment, read it, and then look it up yourself. Now here, let's bring your attention over here to where the cursor is. See that? Okay. So the word taiva, right?
Yeah.
So the word taiva has the gematria of 412, and it means desire, longing, lust, craving, delight, or just a desirable thing. Okay.
Yeah.
It is first used to describe how Eve felt about the tree of knowledge. So, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was a delight to the eyes, ta'ava, delight to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and did eat, and gave also to her husband with her, and he did eat. Okay? Genesis chapter 3, verse 6. So again, ta'ava, right, is also gematria 412. Okay?
Yeah.
So ta'ava, again, is used to describe the craving of the mixed multitude for the kind of food that they ate in Egypt. Okay, if you look at where's the, oh, I guess it's on the next page. I'm trying to find the source for that. Okay, so here's the quote anyway. So, and the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting, and the children of Israel also wept again and said, who shall give us meat to eat? We remember the fish from Egypt. Hold on, let me see if I can. Oh, I guess I didn't continue. I didn't. Okay, I guess I didn't find it necessary to focus on that. Okay, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so sorry, just a moment. Find my place. So Tava has the gematria of 412. It means desire, longing, that's great. It's first used to describe how Eve felt about the tree of knowledge. Okay. So I'm going to have to apologize to the folks at home because I obviously forgot to take a photograph of the continuation of this, but I'm very curious personally myself to find out how ta'ava is linked to the word bayit, house, because of its gematria 412. Okay, so I'll get back to you on that. Apologize, kind of. So.
Friend, I'm going to get to the bottom. I'm listening to you, but I am going to get to the bottom of this thing because Hashem has to help me. He's going to have to help me.
Okay, Balrog wants to participate.
I think that the Pluto return will invoke some powers.
Oh God, please. Yeah. Okay, so here we have again bet as a container. Okay, so the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet is bet. Okay, it's spelled bait. It represents two, the number two, right? The concept of duality. Right.
Yeah.
So that's the initial introduction of duality, two, the letter bet. Okay, so Midrash Rabbah states, why was it created? Why was the world created with a bet? Now, these are midrashic statements, okay, folks, to teach you that there are two worlds. Okay? Thus, the letter bet represents two things joined together, one capable of being revealed and one forever shrouded in mystery. Okay? That's from the Zohar. Okay. The energy intelligence of the letter bet can be understood relative to the energy intelligence of the Aleph.
Mm-hmm.
And on this, the Zohar says, the Aleph is the image of the male principle, as it is in the backdrop of the bet, which is the image of the female principle. Okay? So the revealed meaning of bet is bayit, which means dwelling place, house, or home. The house is a place in which we are. Okay? It is the place where our essence becomes manifest. It just means, it's basically, here we are in this creation, right? We are in the creation. The creation itself is a vessel. Okay, so we're in it. Everything, so the whole creation is a bayit, the bet.
Yeah.
All right. There are over 2,000 instances of some form of the word bayit in all of the biblical scripture. Okay, Genesis alone has some 45 instances of bayit. Okay? Interesting number, 45. And it says, and Jacob journeyed to Sukkot and built him a house and made booths for his cattle. Therefore, the name of the place is called Sukkot. Okay, Sukkot means booths, little huts.
Yeah.
And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. That's obviously a different quote. Okay?
I think I was disinvited from a wedding because I told a friend of mine who was marrying a convert in the process, or she was in the process of converting. And I told her the whole story of Sukkot and how the non-Jews kicked the sukkah. And it was really uncomfortable. And I think he disinvited me from a wedding because of that. I don't know.
Man, I got to use something like that.
And she fully converted. Like fully. But I don't know. I guess it was uncomfortable at the time as she was going through the conversion.
Mad weak.
Yeah. Mad weak on who? On my part or her part?
No, man. It's just like to disinvite somebody because like you can't.
I don't know if I was disinvited. I think he. It's not that I was disinvited. He never. I think I was not invited.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
I expected to be invited. That's the thing. I thought he was going to invite me. I never.
You're a very contentious figure, Greg, with all your
Yes.
with all your anti schmacks.
Oh, this was like, I don't know, 4 years ago.
Oh well, you've been contentious for other reasons too.
Yes.
You're basically a jerk. Basically.
No, I just don't have a filter. That's the problem.
Yeah,
I don't have a filter.
Okay, now I'd like to expose you, the folks at home, to my lovely brilliance. Okay. Okay. So brace yourself for the brilliance. Okay. All right. Okay. Hold on. So just kind of a word association, flow chart, kind of, I suppose, arranges properly. Stop yelling at me, folks at home. I have feelings too, kind of, not really. Okay. Okay, so I'm just trying to find, okay, so here we have, we're talking about the word bait, right? The letter bait, okay? It seems to be very associated with the word bot. Bot means daughter. Okay, we talked about the creation, right? We talked about the creation itself as a vessel. We talked about us being a vessel to allow God inside. Okay, the world itself. These are all kind of like fractal themes of each other. Okay, so how does the word bot, daughter, play into this? Okay, so well, first of all, here we have bot, right? That means daughter. Okay, it's related. Greg, you know Bat Ayin, right?
Yes.
You know, there's a city in Israel, a little village.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I just posted a picture of Bat Ayin as the cover photo for this website, for this page.
I spent the Shabbos there. It was a very interesting experience.
It's very nice. It's a little hippy dippy, but yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, it's pretty. Listen, it's really it's real. It's a real place. You're not going to get too much BS there.
Yeah, that's true.
You hear, you're trying to sleep at night on Shabbos, try to get your rest. You hear Arabs shooting into the air. Oh, that's what they do when they party. They shoot.
Yeah.
On the other side of the Bat Ayin is on a hill. There's a little valley, I think, that has a stream, and then on the other hill, on the other side of the stream, there's an Arab village where they like to shoot. Wonderful. Okay. So we have Bat Ayin. Okay, this expression. All right, it's translated as the apple of the eye. Okay, and this is a term, an expression that God uses when He talks about Israel.
Yeah.
Israel is the apple of God's eye. We'll discuss in future lectures what does that really mean, Israel. Okay, it definitely means the current Jewish people, but it also extends past that too. Relax, Gentiles, relax. Okay. Take it easy. All right. God loves you too. Take it easy. All right. Stop yelling at me. Okay. So, so the apple of the eye, that's the soul of Israel, or the general soul of Israel. We talked about that as the body of Adam, right? Adam. Okay. And so the soul of Israel equals the Shekhinah. Okay. This is the presence that God uses to express Himself in the world. The Shekhinah is, when it's revealed, is our experience of God. That's the expression that He designated as what we're gonna experience when we interact with God. That experience that He designated is called the Shekhinah. Okay, and it's a feminine expression, actually, even though God is not female or male, but He designated a feminine expression to deal with us. Okay, so Shekhinah is equivalent to Nukva, okay, in Kabbalistic parlance. Okay, Barag, you don't agree? Okay, so Nukva, do you guys hear him meowing?
Yes, a little bit, but it's not.
He does this every time there's Torah. He comes and sits and wants to participate. He's really remarkable little creature. Okay, so Nukva, okay, and then we have Malchut, which is equivalent to Nukva and to the Shekhinah and to the soul of Israel and to the apple of the eye and to the daughter. Okay, you see how this is going, right? Okay, And Malchut is Chava, Eve. Okay, so what's really going on here? Let's boil it down. So the theme here is everything that is most important to God. Okay, and we talked about this before. Last to be created, but first in thought, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's look at this for a second. Okay, he's going crazy. Honey, get him out of here. Okay, he's crazy. Oh, he's funny. All right. Okay, so here we have, wait, before we go there, let's look at this for a second. Okay, this is my lovely art. Okay, so this is a chart of the Sfirot. If you just focus on the dots and the lines, right?
Yeah.
This is the tree of life diagram. Okay, superimposed on the form of the human being. Okay, this applies to both male and female. Okay,
yeah.
I understand that with the female, this center part here is a little bit wider, but whatever, ladies, relax, take it easy. All right. Okay, just apply it to you. So this is the form of the human being. Each point represents a major junction, a major whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this is the crown. Okay, right on top over here. Okay, this is Chachma, which represents the right brain. This is Bina, which represents the left brain. These aren't eyes, even though eyes are connected to the idea. This is the right brain, and this is the left brain. Okay, this is Dot, which means knowledge. I made it a different color because it's not a full sphera, it's a semi-sphera. Because Dot is really just a projection of Keter. Okay, but we'll talk about that another time. Okay, now contained within everything, especially, well, at this point here within Dot, is Chesed, okay, which is the right appendage, the right arm. Okay, this guy's looking at you. Actually, no, if he's looking at you, it's the left arm. So this is, you're looking at somebody's back here. This is the back first. Okay, so this is the right arm. Okay, this is the left arm. So Chesed, kindness, loving kindness, Gevura, okay, strict judgment, severity, limitation, concentration. Okay, those are polar opposites, right? But they come together in a balanced way here with Tiferet, which represents the heart and also just represents the torso in general, this area. Okay, this right here, this central point, the heart, is the representative sphera, which represents this whole configuration over here at the torso. Okay, so okay, so this is Tiferet. It means balance, it means harmony, it means beauty. Okay, and then you have Netzach. Okay, this is like it represents that go get, the go get 'em attitude, assertiveness. The will to succeed, to dominate, to conquer, but in a positive way, not in a negative way. You want to conquer. Okay, it's like making a sale. But you really believe in the product, and you really believe that it's gonna help whoever it is that is gonna get it. Okay. And then you have Hod. Hod is this idea. This left leg is the idea of accepting the good advice, accepting the sale, like buying something that's actually useful and positive. Like your mind is open. It's not clogged with nonsense, and you're using your logic. Everything adds up. You're like, yes, this is good. This is a good investment. This will help me. This is the right way to spend my money. Thank you. Okay, so everything that we're talking about here is the idealized version of it. Okay, this right here is Yesod. Okay, this represents the reproductive channel. Okay, so what does that really mean? That means that everything that you've seen here is a process. It starts from the Keter, from the crown. Okay, it goes to the right brain, then to the left brain, then into Dot. Okay, I didn't actually express that here, right? And then from Dot, it goes to the right side, then to the left side, then to the center, then the right side, then the left side again, then the center. And so finally, this center is the conduit. This reproductive organ is the conduit for which this whole process is finally going to be expressed in its final form. And that's right here, that's the Malchut. Okay, so this is the form of man, which it's the human being, includes women too. Okay?
Yeah.
So all of this, right? There are 10 of them. So all of this is represented by the Yud.
Yeah.
That's why Yud has the gematria of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the little dot. All of this is represented in dot. Okay. So so here we have the verse, guard me like the apple of your eye and hide me in the shadow of your wings. That's from Psalms. I forgot which Psalm. It might be Psalm 37. No, it's not. It's not. So if we look at the Hebrew, it says, Shamarni ke'ishon. Okay, so this word apple, right? Or like the apple is like what's the dark inner, the center of the eye? What is that called? The pupil.
Pupil or cornea? Pupil.
No, the cornea is on the outside. It's the pupil.
The pupil. Like when the thing that gets dilated, it's a pupil.
Yeah. Yeah. So the apple in this case is the pupil. Okay, but in Hebrew, it's ke'ishon. Greg, what does ishon sound like?
Ishon?
Yeah, like ish. So you have the word ish, and then when you add, like Shabbaton, it's like a little Shabbos,
Ishon, like a gathering of men or something.
Well, ishon is a little man.
Oh, okay, fine.
Anything with usually with the vav and the nun at the end of it, it kind of like
so Marco
it's like a little version of it.
Marco
like
Rubio. Marco Rubio is an Ishon.
No, I shall call him Ishon.
I should call him
Mini me, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Marco Rubio.
Yeah, right. Little Marco, right?
Yes.
Right.
I think someone should learn that word and be like, "You're an Ishon."
Yeah.
What?
I shall call him Marco. So this whole chart, right, is in its. This is this is as it is expressed, but this is the seed where all of this comes from. Okay, so within this little dot of the Yud, right? The Yud we mentioned before represents a dot, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have all these 10 sphirot. So when it's inside the Yud, it's an Ishon. It's like a little tiny little, a little seed-sized version of this whole chart over here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the pupil of the eye represents that. Okay, so this is, by the way, the commentary of Rabbi David Kimchi, the Radak, who lived long time ago. Okay, so here it says, keep me as the pupil, the Ishon of the ball of the eye. So the bat, by the way, that's a side point, equals the ball of the eye. That's the part of the eye that has the pupil in its center. Okay, so we'll get back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so keep me as the pupil, the ishon, or the apple. It's translated sometimes. The pupil, the ishon, the mini me, the mini man, the mini human, of the ball of the eye. As a man guards the pupil of his eye. Okay, that is the black part through which the light passes. Okay, it is called the ishon, the little man, because the image of man is seen in it. Okay, and the vav, you see, it says wow here. That's one of the pronunciations of the letter vav. Okay, and the wow and the nun mark the diminutive because the image is diminutive, right? The vav and the nun. See the vav and the nun. That's diminutive. It makes it small. Okay. So like Shabbaton, right? Like Sabbath keeping, with the idea of emphasizing its holiness.
Yeah.
Okay? So also with the addition of Yud, as in Imanon, right? As we see that in the second book of Samuel, chapter 13, it says Ishon is in the construct form Bat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and with it forms one expression, Bat, which literally daughter, right? It is by the way, the Radak he's one of the expert. He's one of the sources of the tradition of the Hebrew grammar. He was a teacher of grammar, which is the most important part of the Torah. Yeah. So forms one expression, Bat, literally daughter, and a substantive denoting the eyeball. So the daughter here is the eyeball through which the light passes, while the pupil is a descriptive term because the image of man is seen in it. Okay. Okay. So let's just kind of like have these ideas kind of hovering, okay, for a moment. All right. So let's let's look at this again. So we have the 10 sphirot, right? Okay, and the sphirot are channels of light. They let light pass through it, kind of like an eyeball. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's kind of amazing. So you have when it comes to sphirot, you have the sphera itself is a vessel which has light pass through it. Okay. On a side note, the source of our souls, of the human godly soul, is the light which passes through the sphirot.
Mm-hmm.
The sphera itself is like a prism. It's like a container for the light. That's the source of angels. Okay. Yeah. Just to give you that's a hint as to the relationship we have to the angels. Okay. So here you have the eyeball, which we explained earlier. It was termed in that over here as the bot. Okay, see right there. Yeah. Bot Ayin, the daughter of the eye, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we have these 10 sphirot. Okay, that represents the light that passes through or that goes inside the eyeball, which is the daughter. Mm-hmm. Okay, the eyeball, daughter equals malchut. Okay, so the eyeball receives the light. It receives the 10 sphirot, which is represented by the yud, the light of the 10 sphirot, the yud. Okay. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and this quote right here, right, that we were looking at, that's from Psalm 17, verse 8. Yeah. Okay. So here we have the bot, which again represents the vessel of the sphirot. We have the yud, which represents the 10 lights of the sphirot, and it goes inside the bot, the daughter, right, which is otherwise known as malchut. Okay, malchut. When you read the sources, the Kabbalistic sources, it says it's a sphera which doesn't have any light of its own. It receives and reflects. It's like a canvas for a painter. Yeah. Okay. So you put all the ideas, everything that's in your mind, you deposit it onto the canvas, and the canvas reflects back to you your vision. It's a mirror. It's a canvas. Malchut. Yeah. Okay. So when you put the light inside the daughter, okay, or you put the yud inside in the middle between the letter bet and the letter tav, right? Okay. So what do? You get bayit. That's the spelling of the letter bait that we were just discussing. Okay. So malchut, again, malchut receives from all the other sphirot. Okay. So we have bayit. So God's home is the human, namely the soul, which is often called the daughter. Okay. Very, very often in Tanakh, in Hebrew scripture, when you see the word daughter, that is one of the terms which actually, what it really means is the godly soul, or the princess. Mm-hmm. In other places, it's referred to as the princess. The princess represents the soul that is paired with the animal soul. We talked about that earlier, right? How God pairs our animal soul with the godly soul. The godly soul is the princess. It's his daughter, and he arranges a marriage between his daughter and our animal soul, and the daughter is supposed to influence the princess, supposed to influence the animal soul to become more godly. It has the ability to do that. Okay, so each person in its own, on their own, is a marriage. Even women have their soul is a princess, and their animal soul is likened to a farmer in the village. Yeah. Okay, a pauper, and the princess comes to elevate the pauper. That's the symbolism. It's used all over Tanakh. Okay. Interesting. So basically, and here we're going to just end off with this. Okay. So here we have Shabbat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now look at Shabbat. Look what it's made out of. So the last two words are daughter, right? Okay, and the first letter, I'm sorry, let me start again. Shabbat, the last two letters,
Yeah.
right, as we've established, means daughter, right? And then the first letter can be viewed as a prefix, she. What does she mean as a prefix?
Yeah, of that.
Of that which who, right? Or it could also be seen as pertaining to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even like if you have like sefirot like hesed shebe hesed, hesed of, like hesed of hesed. It's like an emphasis.
Yeah. So Shabbat is something which is it could be a statement. It's understood as pertains to the daughter.
Shabbat. Yeah.
It's of the daughter. It's for the daughter. It's about the daughter. It's
the
about
queen, for that queen, the queen, Shabbos queen.
Queen, right? So you see, with all of these terms, we have like queen, princess, wife, daughter, right? These all represent different stages of development within the Sefirot. Okay. Now, these are all allegorical constructs. These are ideas which God uses to express how we have to function. The whole Sephirotic structure that God wants us to look upon is an instruction manual for how do we deal with ourselves, because we're looking at an instruction manual of yourself. Like you used to buy like a VCR. It came with an instruction manual, right? It had a picture of the VCR. It had a graph of all of its buttons. The Sefirot is an instruction manual for you, the listener, the folks at home. Okay, and not just you. When you look deeper into the structure of the Sefirot, it shows you all of the relationships that you have with all of the people in your life.
Yeah.
Okay, it teaches about the individual and the family structure that you have to have. Okay, so we can get into that another time. That's called the Partzufim.
Yeah.
Okay, but really, when it comes down to it, the Bat, okay, or the bait is the daughter that passes the light of the Sefirot inside of it, and it becomes a house. So think about it. What is when someone says, I want to build a home? When a guy says that, I want to build a home.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he wants to build a house. That means the wife is the home. She is the home. Okay? So just like a man sees his wife as the home. Okay, wherever his wife is, that's home.
Yeah.
Okay. And the children look at their home as wherever their mom is. Okay, it's not this physical structure they're in, it's where the mom is. Okay. So therefore, God looks at us, the humanity, as his house. Because wherever we are, really in our consciousness, that's where he is. That's where he wants to be. Okay. He wants us to be his house. Okay? All of these ideas obviously are all connected to each other, both in concept and grammatically and mathematically, as we've shown.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of the presentation of Bet, and there might be an addendum to this, a short one, just to kind of come to the conclusion of what we were reading before. That I remember the thing I forgot to finish off on. I'll try to. Okay, that's it.
Shkoyach. So, well, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Shem's gonna help us.
Greg,
no, because no, it's dude. You know how much time I spent building this page?
I hear you, man.
Since 2012, and I was getting more traction. Like, no, I know the reason. They dug up some old posts from like years ago, and then they gave me, community guidelines, whatever things, and warnings, whatever it is. And now it says my page is actually a risk. It's under a red flag. It's a risk of being unpublished. See, it says your page is risk of being unpublished because of community standards violations. And it just says like, Okay, and it says this page is not being suggested to people at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
Greg,
page may also experience reduced distribution.
You remind me of Sam Kinison.
Yeah.
Not of Sam Kinison. You remind me of the people Sam Kinison was talking about. Remember, he's like the people who are starving, right? He goes, I've seen those commercials of the people starving in the Sahara,
Yeah.
right? And you know, it's really rough to watch. You know, that you see this starving child. He goes, you know, I know the camera crew can probably give him a sandwich, right? But that's okay. There, and he does an impression of the director. He's like, no, don't feed him. Don't feed him. That way, you know, this people will really understand. Like they make the child extra hungry, so that looks extra sad. Okay, but he's like, you know what I would do to solve that problem? I wouldn't send them, folks. If you want to solve that problem, stop sending them food. Stop it. Instead, send them U-Hauls. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And then he does an impression of himself going there. He goes, you know. He goes, come here. You see this? Right? He picks up he kneels down to the ground. He picks up some sand. He goes, this is sand. Nothing grows here. You're in the desert. Right? That's right, exactly. So Facebook is your desert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing grows here. Yeah.
Okay. So like it's useless to try to put too much effort into.
But so is YouTube. So like I guess we just go to Rumble and and that's it.
Yes, that's what we've been saying, Greg. That's what we've been saying. I've been trying to like gently.
I know, but if I already have something that's 35,000 fans, it's not like I have no fan. 35,000.
Okay, Greg, you're going to be mad at me right now, but I have to use you to prove this, not to prove, but to show this incredible point that we've been talking about a lot. You know how like you have the Jew who didn't want to go out of Egypt?
Yeah.
You know how you have the Jews who, you know, they're comfortable in their house in Miami, right? Talking to myself, by the way, and in Brooklyn, right? And they're wondering like they don't want to move on to Israel.
Yes.
Israel appears like to you, Rumble is as Israel appears to Brooklyn Jews.
To people in Muncie, yeah.
To people in Muncie. Do you now? This is like a great. Do you now understand how they feel?
Yeah, because Rumble is schwach and it doesn't have a good, and it doesn't have UX UI and doesn't have any monetization.
That's how they
make any money.
They don't trust. They're worried. How is this going to work out? You have to have faith. Greg, God is pushing you out of Facebook. He's pushing you out of YouTube, and you won't go. You won't go.
By the way, we have very devoted. I saw last night. We have very, very devoted fans on YouTube. They were like commenting a lot during the.
Those are angels. Those are angels. Dude, without Alex and Denise.
No, not just them. There's like a few other people that showed up. I was like,
I know. I'm just saying that like the ones that like were the earliest ones, the most consistent, Alex and Denise. I don't think I would really do this. Like they motivated me to possibly think that someone would ever want to listen to me.
Yeah.
Possibly. It's not exactly clear yet, but you know, it made me entertain the possibility. So they're angels.
I hear.
But not dick angels, like good ones.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, not Malachi, whatever. Malachi Bennett.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been real, sir. I gotta get crack-a-lackin' over here. It's 11 o'clock. And Mizat Hashem, we're gonna solve this. This will be solved. Next week, I think, is gonna be a lot of solving for a lot of people.
Oh God, please. I don't want to repush labor for my uncle. It's just agony.
Amen.
All right. Have a great Shabbos, everyone. Greg.
Yes.
You're the man. And maybe next time you'll actually pay attention to the full.
Oh, I did.
No, man. You understand? If you're not fully engaged,
there were comments.
No comedy happening.
I made comments.
No, it was better than before. It was better than.
We talked about French people. We talked about my uninvited shit. Yeah, not sure.
But think about how much. Think about how much shtick was lost because you were involved in a fruitless endeavor.
Or maybe how much Torah was gained because I wasn't making shtick comments during.
Oh no, the Torah. No, the shtick. You don't understand. The shtick is vital. The shtick is the spoon.
Yes.
Torah is the food, right?
Yeah.
All right,
sir.
All right, man.
Shalom. Catch up.
Peace.